Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I feel like time is flying, and now there's a week and a half left until my son is home from school for Christmas break for 2 weeks. And it's really exciting. I will be ready for a break then, too. Hopefully, you will as well, and you get a nice break. Um, my dog is at my feet here chewing on a bone. So if you hear anything, that's what is happening today. All right, today I want to talk about neurotransmitters. And this is an often overlooked piece of the puzzle that many of my clients, even if they've done some testing, like say they've looked at gut health or looked at hormones, but most people have not looked at neurotransmitters unless they've actually listened to my podcast. And sometimes people come to me like, I tested neurotransmitters, but now I don't know what to do. And, we need to put together all the pieces of the puzzle. But this is a often overlooked piece of the puzzle, and especially if you're dealing with mood issues like anxiety or depression, like this is definitely relevant for you because neurotransmitters play such a role in our mood. Now, I will add that you can have neurotransmitter deficiencies that are affecting sleep and not have any other symptoms at all. Like for me, first of all, I'll say that I worked on gut health, I worked on hormones, I worked on heavy metals. Like I did all the other tests before I ever did a neurotransmitter test. And I got, 95% better to where I was sleeping pretty well most of the time, but I definitely it was still kind of up and down and just not that consistent. And then a mentor of mine, suggested that maybe my clients could benefit from neurotransmitter testing. So I did the test first, as I always do. I'm always the guinea pig first. And sure enough, I was deficient in serotonin and GABA, which I will tell you about those neurotransmitters in just a minute. And I started supplementing to support those, and that's when my sleep just became consistent, like consistently good pretty much all the time. I mean, of course, we're going to have an off night every now and then. That's happens to everyone, even people who don't have any kind of sleep issues. But yeah, I mean, it just made my sleep so much better and consistently better. So now that's one of my 4 core tests that I use is looking for neurotransmitters at neurotransmitter levels. And I'll tell you about that test too at the end of this. So anyway, what I wanted to point out with that is that I didn't have I don't have any other symptoms except for sleep issues. But I also realized that a lot of these are genetic, like you can have a genetic inability to make enough serotonin and GABA. And I mean, mental health issues totally run in my family. My mom had depression all of her life. My sister takes antidepressants. Like everyone on my mom's side of the family has mental health issues. And so and now I've tested my genetics, so I know it's a genetic component for me. But I've been fortunate. And I remember I used to work for a doctor, a DO, as his nutritionist. So I would help his clients, implement their nutrition plans that he gave them. And I did some testing through him, and he told me that I have the MTHR variation, which means that we need methylated B vitamins. And one of the symptoms of not methylating correctly is our mood issues. And he told me that the reason I don't experience that is because I was very healthy. I live a very healthy lifestyle. I eat well. But he said, if you ever develop like mental health issues, then start taking some B vitamins. Like that should be your first step instead of just going straight to drugs. And so I think that that's why I've been fortunate to not experience any of those mental health issues, even though I'm definitely predisposed to them. But it also goes to show that our genes aren't our destiny. It's how it's whether they're turned on or off. And definitely having a healthy lifestyle is going to help, not turn on the genes that we don't want turned on. So even if you don't have mood issues, I mean, I would say there's a 95% chance that neurotransmitters are still partly responsible for not good sleep. And that's because I mean, 95% of our clients have neurotransmitter deficiencies, especially the ones that I'm going to talk about today. So this is an issue even if you don't have mood issues. But if you do, then for sure neurotransmitters are at play here. And that's why a lot of pharmaceuticals are affecting neurotransmitters, but they don't do it in a natural way. So we can support those a lot more naturally without having to take a drug with serious side effects for most people. So let's talk about the four main neurotransmitters relevant to sleep and mood. The first one, which I mentioned, is called serotonin, and this is our happy and joyful neurotransmitter. It also helps us fall into a deep, restful sleep. And so signs of being deficient in this can be especially depression, especially lack of enjoyment in, life's normal pleasures and your hobbies, things like that. Also PMS, inner rage, paranoia, and poor sleep. And serotonin is actually the precursor to melatonin, which I'm sure you know is our sleepy hormone. It does regulate your circadian rhythm. And melatonin also regulates the release of other neurotransmitters. So you can see that we not only need serotonin to sleep, we also that then converts to melatonin. So it's easy to become deficient in melatonin if you're also deficient in serotonin. Now, GABA is so serotonin, melatonin are the first two, GABA is the third. This is our anti-anxiety hormone, and it also affects sleep. If you're deficient in GABA, you can find it hard to turn off your mind, which leads to racing thoughts and anxiety. And so the most common GABA deficiency issues are anxiety, nervousness, and insomnia. And a lot of my clients who are dealing with sleep issues also experience a lot of anxiety, and this is one reason why. And then the fourth neurotransmitter I want to talk about is dopamine. This is called our pleasure neurotransmitter, and it's responsible for sending messages back and forth between nerve cells. And so the main effect of low dopamine is kind of this lack of motivation, not having that drive to get up and do things. So there are four really important ways needed to keep your brain healthy and make the neurotransmitters that you need, and then being able to feel good and sleep well. So the first thing to do is you need a healthy gut. So 90% of neurotransmitters are actually made by the good bacteria in the gut. So if you have pathogens like a parasite or H. pylori or other bacterial overgrowth or candida, those pathogens are going to deplete the good bacteria over time. And they also damage the gut wall. So really looking at overall gut health is super important for making these neurotransmitters. And I will add that this doesn't mean that you should just go run out and take a probiotic. Actually, some of my clients have too many good bacteria and bad bacteria. And so a probiotic, like adding more to that, is just adding more fuel to the fire. And those, like too many bacteria, bacterial overgrowth causes a lot of inflammation. So this is why I really believe in testing instead of guessing. And there aren't many supplements in the world that I think everyone should take. And that includes a probiotic. And so I use the GI map to look at gut health so we can see exactly what's going on in the gut. Now, the second thing that's super key to boosting neurotransmitters is to lower inflammation. So when your brain is inflamed, it's not going to have healthy levels of neurotransmitters. And a lot of inflammation in the brain, which I will say is something I assess for in the Complete Sleep Solution program as well, by looking at different symptoms. So a lot of inflammation in the brain is actually coming from the gut and other places in the body. But the gut and the brain are connected via the vagus nerve. So inflammation in the brain is going to the gut, and inflammation in the gut is going to the brain, and vice versa. So we definitely want to find out where that inflammation is coming from. And it can come from your diet, so eating inflammatory foods. Eating foods you're sensitive to, that can cause a lot of inflammation. A pathogen in the gut, again, is going to cause a lot of inflammation. So, the goal of my programs is to find out where inflammation is coming from and help you lower that. And then that's going to help your gut be healthy to make those neurotransmitters, and to lower inflammation in the brain as well. Now, the third way to boost neurotransmitters is to keep your blood sugar levels steady. So when your blood sugar gets too high and too low and it's on that roller coaster, that actually affects your brain health too. So when glucose levels in the brain become low from low blood sugar, or if you're developing insulin resistance or even diabetes, then your body isn't going to be able to make enough neurotransmitters to be healthy. So blood sugar is another piece of the puzzle that I also assess for and help my clients with, because it's super important for sleep in general. I mean, just, whenever your blood sugar drops too low in the night, your body's going to release cortisol to raise blood sugar, but that's also going to wake you up. And then that blood sugar, high and low blood sugar, is also affecting neurotransmitters that are affecting sleep. So it's kind of a double whammy there. So looking at blood sugar balance is really important for figuring out sleep issues and for being healthy overall. Now, the fourth thing that you can do, that you want to make sure to do, is to have plenty of oxygen in your brain. So your brain needs oxygen to be healthy, and it's actually surprisingly common for people to not have enough oxygen in their brain. Now, stress is a number one cause of lack of oxygen for two reasons. So first of all, when you are stressed, you are going to breathe shallowly instead of deeply. So your brain isn't going to get enough oxygen when you're, doing shallow breathing. And secondly, stress is going to keep your body in a constant state of fight or flight. And when you're in fight or flight, blood and oxygen go to the lungs, heart, and limbs and away from the brain, because your body's trying to prepare you to be able to, fight or run from something. So it's giving oxygen and blood flow to your extremities and not your brain. So, and I will say that there's different kinds of stress. So we think of stress as mental stress, which is definitely going to have this effect, right? If you're, if you're rushing around all the time, if you're worried about money or your child or your parents, or you're not happy in your job, like all of that stress is definitely going to affect your cortisol and cause your body to be in fight or flight, which has a lot of cascade effects in your body. But there can also be stressors in your body that you don't even know are there, like a pathogen in your gut, like blood sugar issues, like liver detox issues. So we really, again, one of the goals of my programs is to find out where the stress is coming from. Where's inflammation coming from? Where's stress coming from? And let's lower those things as much as possible. Then your body is able to heal and get back in balance. Now, anemia is another common cause of lack of oxygen to the brain as well. So iron deficiency anemia, and some actually surprising causes of this can be parasites that feed on iron, gluten intolerance, which leads to your body not absorbing nutrients well from food, including iron, and an H. pylori infection that causes low stomach acid. That's going to affect your body's ability to digest protein and get the nutrients we need that come from protein, especially iron and other minerals. And then, there are other types of anemia besides just iron deficiency anemia, but that is something that we also need to look at to make sure that your neurotransmitters are healthy. And then again, there could be a genetic component like mine, and this might be something that you need to supplement with forever. But I'm totally happy to take, a supplement to support serotonin and GABA for the rest of my life. If that means that I'm going to sleep well and feel great and not need a drug, then I think that's great. So, as you can see, many different factors affect your brain health and our neurotransmitter deficiencies. And there's a great book that I recommend if you like reading and are interested in this. It's called Why Isn't My Brain Working? And it explains a lot about what causes sleep issues and mood issues. It's by a functional medicine doctor, Dr. Datis Karazian. I'm not sure how to say his name, but it's called Why Isn't My Brain Working? And he says in this book, a brain free of inflammation and degeneration requires balanced hormones, a healthy gut, good thyroid function, and good adrenal function. And I couldn't agree more. And why I love his book so much is because he has the same approach that I do. First of all, from a functional medicine approach, and that everything in the body is connected. And so we need to be looking at hormones and gut health and thyroid and adrenal function. And I would say also liver detox and blood sugar balance and all the things that I look at in the program. It's never just one thing. Like by the time you aren't sleeping well and you're experiencing any other symptoms, it means that multiple systems in the body have stopped working correctly. Like things are out of balance and every system in the body is connected to each other. And I think unfortunately that's something that the medical system has kind of lost sight of. Like we definitely need to specialize in certain things to learn more about the gut and about hormones and things like that. But what's happened is that all this specialization um, has led people to forget that they're all connected. So, like your gastroenterologist is not talking to your endocrinologist, and they're not like they're just focused on their specialty and not seeing that those things are actually really connected. So, same with every system in the body. So, my approach to restoring health and being able to sleep well is to look at all the different systems in the body and help them work optimally. Then your body can get back in balance. And then you'll be able to sleep normally. And so that's going to be the fastest and most effective way to figure out your sleep, to fix your sleep like long term, right? Not a quick fix, not a drug with side effects that's a band-aid. Like once your body is healthy and in balance, then you'll be able to sleep normally. And you'll also have energy and be in a good mood and be motivated to do the things you love in your life. And yeah, it just affects everything. So that I do use a lab test to look at neurotransmitter levels for all of my clients in the Complete Sleep Solution program. It's called the NeuroFocus panel, and it tests directly for serotonin, GABA, dopamine. It also looks at other neurotransmitters, some of our stress hormones like epinephrine and norepinephrine. It looks at glutamate and histamine, which when those are too high, those are stimulating neurotransmitters, and that can directly affect sleep. So that's another thing I'm looking at there for sleep that I didn't mention today. But that is one of the 4 core tests in the program because it has been such a game changer. So when I know that someone needs serotonin and GABA support and I can recommend a supplement, a lot of times they start sleeping better right away, even though we still need to address what's going on in the gut, work on hormone balance, those kinds of things, but it can really help improve things right away. So, and again, like most practitioners are not running this test, and so it's really commonly overlooked. So, if you are ready to get to the bottom of your sleep issues, mood issues, health issues, that is definitely something that I can help you with. And I would recommend the Complete Sleep Solution program. It's a 6-month program, private program that includes analysis of 4 lab tests plus assessments. So I'm looking for everything that could be affecting your sleep, from hormones to gut health, to liver function, to neurotransmitters, to blood sugar. And, not to, I hope that that doesn't sound overwhelming. It's not that all of those things are something that you need to address. How I see it as every person has their own unique puzzle pieces. And so it's some combination of some of those possibilities. But my goal is to look for everything that could be causing this so that nothing is missed. So so the program again is 6 months. You have 12 sessions with a sleep detective coach who has been trained in my method and trained in the lab testing. And so we we help you. We as soon as you sign up, you get what's called a jumpstart plan, where we look over your intake forms and tell you the top 3 things to start working on right away. And that way, a lot of our clients start sleeping better within the first month before we even get their test results back. Then when your test results come back, you have a longer session where your coach explains those. You can ask any questions that you have, and then we give you your full plan moving forward. And then you have support throughout the 6 months as you implement your plan. We also, if needed, help with the mental aspect of not sleeping as well, and the mindset of being able to make changes that we're recommending. And so the support is really key to success. So without that, then if you have a question that comes up or you need help, making a change that we're recommending, you wouldn't have any support there. And so then you probably wouldn't do it and you wouldn't get better. So so that's why the support piece is there. And it's a 6-month program because it is a health restoring program, and that does take some time. Many of our clients start sleeping and feeling better right away, or definitely within the first few months. So it's not that it takes 6 months. I'm just giving the maximum time that I expect it to take for most people to see major improvement. And the protocols we're giving are usually for 3 months. Sometimes we have to, if there's a lot of imbalances to address, then we might have to do things in a couple different phases. So it could take longer than 3 months. So that's why the program is 6 months. So if you are interested in that, then you can definitely, the first step is to sign up for a consultation with me. So we'll talk about what's going on with your sleep and health. And I'm just putting more information about the program here where you can go to my website and find out more. But yeah, in the consultation, we'll talk about what's going on with your sleep and health, what you've tried so far, why those things haven't worked, what your goals are. And then I'll explain the program and how it's going to help you achieve those goals in 6 months or less so that you can sleep 7 to 9 hours a night consistently. And most importantly, wake up feeling rested, have energy, be in a good mood, and be able to make the difference that you want to make in the world. So feel free to sign up for that. Let me know if you have any questions. Amy, I see you're asking about high prolactin. Yes, that can definitely be a cause of sleep issues. So the key is to find out what's causing that high prolactin though, right? So yeah, so there's more to just trying to fix that with a medication. It's figuring out what's causing that. And I actually worked with a client who was dealing more with hormone issues and thyroid issues than sleep issues. And she had that as well. And so we were able to help resolve that by looking at everything that's going on in the body. So thank you for listening, everyone. I will be back tomorrow. And let's see, I will be talking about minerals and heavy metals and why those are also other important pieces of the problem. A tumor is causing it. Okay. So yeah, so that is definitely a medical issue, as you know, that you want to be seeking help for. So yes, you're so welcome. So yeah, I hope you get the help you need for that. And yes, I mean, so many different things can affect sleep. So that likely is. All right, everyone. So good to talk to you. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm actually about to go live on Zoom now for an Ask Me Anything call. So if you want to directly talk about your sleep and health and have questions there, then you can join me there. So I will see you there.